everyone in another episode of Researcher Celebrity. Today, we have Dr. Meenakshi here with us. A brief about Dr. Meenakshi. She has done her bachelor's in biotechnology from University of Mumbai. And to pursue the master's, she moved to Maharaja Sajirao University, Baroda. Again, because she wanted to do PhD also. So she joined NCBS Bangalore as a PhD student and accomplished fulfillment of that. And presently, she is a project scientist at NCBS also. Thank you very much, Dr. Meenakshi, for taking time out for us.
Thank you for the introduction.
Yeah. So we start our conversation that how and when you decided that you want to be a researcher.
So ever since I was a kid, I've been a very curious kid. I would pester my parents, relatives with all sorts of questions like, why do plants look green? Why does it rain in some months? Why doesn't it rain in the other months? So all sorts of questions I would pester my parents, relatives, even friends. And at school, I would remember even my teachers were very much fed up. Oh my God, this student, she's asking a lot of questions. So I was a very curious kid. And by the time I was in middle school and high school, I had realized that science and mathematics are my favorite subjects, and I developed a passion for the subject. And our school used to organize these science fairs and science projects. So I would participate every year without fail in these science projects. So wherein the format was that there would be an open day in the school. So all the school students, their parents, relatives, anybody could visit, and we would take up some topic and describe about that topic. So it was, so those days used to be very exciting. Like, you would pick up some topic, about anything simple, like why does it rain, for example, the water cycle, or all such simple topics, and try to explain to the audience about those topics. And also there were these science-related competitions like Olympiad, and also I would participate in those competitions. And I would, from school days, my parents and my teachers, everybody have been very encouraging. So if I would like to participate in any competition outside my school, outside my district, still people have been supportive. Like my teachers would travel with us to attend all those competitions and so on. So I remember that once we had a visit from the school side to visit Nehru Planetarium. And that is, I think, one visit which changed my life, which the interest that I had for science, the passion that I had for science, it grew inside me. So it multiplied inside me. So it was very, very exciting visit. And there were also talks over there. So they had introduced several new topics to us, like nanotechnology, material science, and one of those topics was biotechnology. So I think that became a catchphrase for me. So I was in 8th standard at that time, and that became a catchphrase in me. And this was a new course which was adopted in Mumbai University. And so there were a lot of talks about genetically modified crops and so on, the benefits of biotechnology, how biotechnology can be used to improve society for health and disease. So all these topics really fascinated me, and I was very excited. And so this journey continued. And after my 10th standard, I joined a junior college in Birla College in Kalyan, which is affiliated to the University of Mumbai. And even in those colleges, even in my junior college time, I remember participating in competitions, and again, a lot of encouragement from teachers and family. I'm really blessed to have a very well supportive family, friends, and teachers, especially, who were very encouraging throughout my journey. And after 12th, I realized that I like biology subject more. So I opted for biology in during the 12th standard. And for bachelor's also, I opted for biotechnology. So at that time, there was a lot of craze for pursuing pharmacy or medicine or engineering. But I decided, I pretty much made up my mind by then that I would like to do research. And this is what I would, this is the course I will take. So I took up BSc in biotechnology. And so throughout college, at least in Mumbai University at that time, we got a lot of opportunities to visit other colleges because of the festivals. There used to be annual college festivals, and we also had our own college festival. So I remember, like all of us, we used to go to different colleges, and we have set up quiz questions, like prepared for all this from scratch. And we used to go to other colleges and participate in debates, the scientific debates, and presentations, PowerPoint presentations, small research projects and such. And even when we had time during our weekend, we would visit our labs, our college labs, and other neighboring college labs to just see what are the kind of experiments that are going on, what are the other research works apart from our course syllabus which are going on. So that gave me a very good exposure. And at that time, through my seniors in college and through my teachers, I realized that there are several institutes, the research institutes in India, which are very good for research exposure. So I started applying for the integrated PhD admissions in NCBS TIFR. And I'd also started applying for MSc applications to pursue MSc in several institutes across India. So at that time, I remember there was this JNU entrance exam, central entrance exam, wherein there are around 30 colleges across India, and those 30 universities across India, which were affiliated to the JNU center. And I had given the entrance exam. And pretty much I had to convince my family that I would like to go out of, I'd been in Kalyan, I was born and brought up in Kalyan, I did all my education in Kalyan. So pretty much I had to literally convince my parents, I would like to go to some other place to pursue my master's. And I'm happy they agreed. They also saw merit in that, that you need exposure if you would like to achieve certain things in life. So for master's, I went to this place called Maharaja Sayajirao University in Baroda. And wherein that really changed, that experience changed my life. The way courses were taught, the way research projects were designed, everything was so different than what I had seen before. And before this, we used to have course textbooks to read and learn about the subject. But over there, I realized that there are research papers, there are scientific literature that you can read. There were so many PhD students whom we could talk to and interact. So it was an eye opener for me, and that is where I think I realized what research really means. How to design a research question, how to go about asking it. So that was a fabulous experience. Though that was like two of the most golden years of my life. The training that I received at MSU. And then after MSU, we were the teachers. I mean, all the teachers and professors over there, they were very encouraging, and I learned about a lot of opportunities abroad and in India, about different institutes where I could apply to do my PhD. And by that time, I had pretty much made up my mind. And at that time, I also realized that probably teaching is my true calling. After PhD, I would like to mentor students at bachelor's and master's level, and I would be a teacher and inspire several students. And so with that thought in mind, I came to Bangalore, NCBS, to pursue my PhD. Once I came to Bangalore, I shifted gears. Like my master's and bachelor's were in biotechnology. And over there, pretty much we had exposure to several subjects like microbiology, cell biology, and molecular biology, and so on. But there was this area called computational biology or bioinformatics, for which I did not have much exposure during master's and bachelor's. So for PhD, I did my PhD with Professor Saudamini in NCBS, she has won several awards, and she's a very reputed scientist in the country. So with her guidance, I did my PhD here in computational biology. And by the time I was finishing my PhD, at that time in the same institute, there's another professor called Professor Sudhir Krishna, and he had a collaborative grant, an Indo-Africa collaborative grant, wherein some of our work involved vaccine design and sequencing pathogen genome. So with his guidance, I did my postdoc with him, or with Professor Sudhir Krishna, with visits to the lab in Kenya. Then now I'm back to square one, back to where it all began in Professor Saudamini's lab. So now I'm a project scientist one in a DBT project. So we have set up a bioinformatics center at NCBS for genome informatics. And so we are providing bioinformatics solutions and collaborating with different labs at NCBS.
So now when like at 7th and 8th grade, I don't know if many of the students have this thing through that they wanted to be a researcher, not medicine. Like the to-go thing for science students were like, okay, either they can be engineer or doctor. But at that stage, when you were like, okay, I wanted to be a researcher. Now it's been a decade or so. How are you enjoying the journey?
It has been really fun. And so at that time, I remember there used to be this Tinkle comics, which we used to get bi-weekly at home. And over there was this Ask Uncle Anu. There was this column where there used to be some scientific question that was asked, and Uncle Anu would come up with the answers to that problem. So it all started with that curiosity about science by reading all these textbooks, magazines, all those things. And like throughout, I feel over the years that I've just become more passionate about science, and I'm really enjoying every minute of this.
It is very rare when a researcher says that over a period of time it is maturing like fine wine. So we always say that once a researcher, always a researcher, but maturing with time, like the passion is increasing and increasing. Very few of them share the passion what you have. So speaking of the PhD duration, were there like what were the challenges which you felt or which you faced being a woman in researcher? Because this month we are celebrating women in research in STEM specifically at Researcher Celebrity platform. Would you like to say anything about it?
Yeah. So when I had joined PhD, this was like a paradigm shift. I had not done bioinformatics before, computational biology before. But my PhD supervisor, Professor Saudamini, she is herself a woman in science and a very respected person in the field in the country as well as abroad. So she and every newcomer in the lab, every new PhD student is now we are all blessed in a way that we are first put in touch with another experienced PhD student or postdoc who would first tell us about the tricks of the trade. How did they approach the scientific problem, so that we learn, we pick up something. Something from them, and even the literature presentation. So I remember the first lab meeting that I attended, I was very overwhelmed and awestruck. Oh my God, this is, there are so many technical jargons. It's going to be so difficult for me to understand. But over time, after going through the lab literature publications and after interacting with the lab members, I was able to understand about the subject. And I feel that my professor herself, she is a source of inspiration. She is always on her toes, and she takes up a lot of projects, and that encourages us to give our best more. And about being a woman in science, so I am touch wood, I would say I've been very lucky that I have not faced any pressures either from my family or even at my workplace. No bias as such. So I feel whatever technical challenges I had faced, anybody would, from my background, irrespective of their gender, would have faced the same technical challenges. And I feel, these technical challenges, if we talk to our colleagues, and we would be able to overcome all these technical challenges.
And I think here I would like to mention to all the viewers that the entire month of conversation what we had, women in STEM in India, working abroad, one thing which is coming up, that there is no discrimination on the basis of gender. And in fact, in terms of competition and healthy environment, that is what is the most important part. If you are going to pursue a PhD, or if you are thinking to joining a lab just as a researcher, always consider that how the lab environment is, because that is where you are going to spend a lot of time. That is, if you can keep your calmness in there, you can perform way better than anywhere else. So coming back to
definitely, as you mentioned, like hard work, perseverance, the environment, talking to your colleagues, all these matters.
So when you were like about to, because it was very clear that you wanted to do a PhD since your bachelor's.
Yeah.
But after PhD, what was the first thought when you were about to submit? You were looking for a future in research. What were those initial thoughts?
So I remember like feeling confused what to do next. There were several options in front of me, and so around that time, by the time I submitted, I had also attended a conference in the US, the Albany conference, and this conference happens once in 2 years at the State University of New York at Albany. And over there, I had listened to several scientific talks from my field, and I remember being more confused. Oh, this is so exciting. There are several applications that I could do. But I feel around that time, like I had also started interacting with Professor Sudhir Krishna's lab meetings. So we were, at that time, we were designing a dengue vaccine sequence. So, and also talking about pathogen genome sequencing, and started talking about antimicrobial resistance and so on. So that by that time I realized till now I had done basic science. I can try to apply this knowledge to translational science. And with that thought, and at that time there was an offer also. There was a postdoctoral offer from the lab. They were looking for a computational biology person for the sequence, genomics analysis and protein structural analysis. So there was an offer, and I thought I should just take it up. Because like whatever I had learned till now, the basic knowledge that I had gained, I would get to apply it in a clinical setting. So I just took up the offer, and there has been no looking back. There are several applications that I have realized about for the kind of training that I've received, bioinformatics training, and the list is just so huge, and there are so many things I feel which to do.
So when you mention about like, because of the bioinformatic platform, you have so much of information, and now with the immediate, giving out and making it more translational, does it bring any kind of pressure? Or you can say, because if you have to translate something very quickly, because in basic sciences it takes sometimes years, with bioinformatics that duration reduced so much, so you have to do. What are your experiences about that?
So the thing is, for us, whenever there are any results, we have been trained in such a way that we'll go back and check, cross-check several times, so that there should not be any place where we are going wrong. Because as you mentioned, the application is translational, so even a single error can propagate, and it can get continued across all the observations. So that is one thing. Go and back check at every stage of the code, or at every stage of the analysis. Go back and check to an analysis. So first, we just try to do everything manually without using any computational thing. And after we do it manually, we realize, okay, these are the things that can go wrong and all. So that process we use for the coding part. And that is how we design pipelines for one by one using, and for there are some, the same pipeline cannot be used for all the entire data set. Everywhere there will be some outliers or some cases which are difficult to handle. So for those difficult, first is to identify those cases. So to study the data, thoroughness is required one and all. So if you are very sure about your data, if you understand your data well, the more time you spend staring at your data and working on your data, then the easier it is for you to do the analysis part. And if you keep on doing all this cross checks and validations at several points during the pipeline, at the end you can be sure, okay, I've done given the best I can.
So when you have performed your best, okay, things work out very well. So now at computer it looks fancy, but when it comes to the translational, when it go to the bench, have you found that there is a discordance in there? Like something is working beautifully on computer, but when it goes in vivo, it is not working.
So personally, it hasn't happened with me, but yeah, this is commonly seen sometimes. Like we can make some predictions, and based on the predictions, like we can say, okay, this is the best compound to target, say a pathogen bacteria protein. But based on that analysis, maybe this might not work well in the experiments. So my go-to with that would be to select some, say, top 100 compounds or so. So out of, or top 10 compounds. So if your list is huge, then at least top 10, 15 compounds. Out of 15, at least one has a higher chance of working, rather than saying, oh, this is the best compound. So always better to have a list of compounds.
And here I would like to tell all the audience that, as Dr. Meenakshi said, always keep your list broad, okay? So that you always have something to go to and something should work, because that is part of research, that the way you think the experiments are going to perform, sometimes they give you what you want. Most of the time, they just take another path and give you some kind of, more encouragement that you have a lot to do more. So, Meenakshi,
actually, for the example you mentioned, that itself is a learning experience. We know, okay, with these parameters we've tried, this might not work. So that itself is a study and a result in itself.
Yeah, and that's what we always say, that in research, the most important thing is your intent and attitude. If you are ready to give whatever it takes, then there is no looking back ever in research. Because some people always say that most of the experiments are failing and all that. Yes, failure is part of it, but it is up to you that how you collect all those bricks and make the wall so that you can climb or stairs or whatever you want to build upon that. So in your research experience till now, have you faced situations where you thought that you want to give up on research?
There have been a few times where I have felt like that, but sometimes this can happen if we are overworked, or like we have several things going on in hand, or we are too much focused on one thing, that we are not seeing the bigger picture, something. So, and it can happen to anybody. You feel low on some days, you may feel, okay, things are not going well, or something. So at that time, it's better to take a break and not to take any hasty decisions when you're feeling low. No matter you said, oh, let us give up, or write some email or something. So better, when we are too much high or low on emotions, it's always better to take a break and not take any major decisions at that time, because later on when we come back to normal, we should not regret what we had. So better not to take any major decisions at that time.
And here I think I would agree with Dr. Meenakshi what she said. Don't take any hasty decision, because when you committed to PhD, you took a lot of time. That you are now interested in this, and that's the reason why you joined PhD. Now at least give half of that time. So if it took you 2 or 3 years to say that, okay, you want a commitment for PhD, so at least take a month or at least 5-6 months to weigh the situation, that, okay, if things are not working today, because they did work in past, they will work in future. Just this is a passing phase and it will pass. So keep that attitude, as Dr. Meenakshi said. So when this thing was happening with you, when you said that there were a few incidences and you thought that, okay, I'm not going to make decision. After that, when you achieve what you wanted to, how did you celebrate that success?
So yeah, so one thing is, either you can go for a retreat, or pamper yourself with some kind of food that you like, all those things. So that used to happen at the starting of the PhD. But then I realized that whether some things work or some things do not work, it is better to take it in your stride. Like not to be too much disheartened when something doesn't work, and not to be too much happy or on cloud nine when something works. Like when you're at the end of your journey, till you're at the end of your journey, just continue the momentum. Don't be too much swayed away, like very happy or very sad. But once you have reached the end of your goal, then at the end of, say, a few experiments you've finished, and you have the bigger picture in your mind. For a study, we have all the results, and now things are looking like, okay, we have achieved what we intended to do. So at that time, I think that is the best time to celebrate. Before, yeah.
So now we are celebrating the women in STEM this month. What are your thoughts about, do we need platforms like this to celebrate women in research?
Yes, definitely. So, no, as researchers or as teachers, scientists, we as a community, we would like to reach out to our normal viewers, like students or the general public in general, and to tell them that there might be some preconceived notions. That is there a bias in research, as you mentioned? There is no. I mean, luckily, whoever you interviewed with, there's no discrimination that we have faced. So, and to tell people that about our journeys, how exciting it has been, and to motivate more people to join science, join us, and also for the general public as an awareness. What are the different kind of things that we are doing in? What are the different kind of research that is going on, and about our journey in general.
Mm-hmm. I think what we believe in, that researcher has nothing to do with gender. It is just a person's passion, that they are committed, that they want to contribute to the society, that whatever they have learned over it. Because in most of the jobs, there is not immediate, or the way a researcher can give back to society. There are not many options like that. People are giving their own dues in a different ways. But I believe the most significant way, if someone can do, that is a researcher who can just change the society. Do you agree with me?
Definitely. Yeah, that's true.
So now when people talk about researchers, they always say that research is a 24/7 job. Now at different forums, people start talking about work and life balance in research. What were your experiences till now?
So, like in our institute, our lab is one of the labs where we have timings like 9 to 5 and so on. And even in the weekends, we are not expected to come to the lab. So, and it's up to us if we wish to come. If it's something is very important, very urgent, we can come to the institute. And if we wish to stay back in the institute till say dinner time or so, we can stay back. But 9 to 5 is the time, and we are not expected to stay back more than that. And no, and also because of this time part, we have also learned how to manage time in a way. So like within 9 to 5, we are encouraged to have so we have this project in the lab which our supervisor follows. It's a dot project, and her everyday activity, she will note it down. And she'll have 1 hour for say some discussions, or 1 hour for some other work-related activities. So we follow her, and we have also followed the other colleagues in the lab who have joined the lab before us, to learn from them how to manage time and how to. 9 to 5 seems like a small time for research, but we are sure that if we put our heart and time and with focus in the lab, we'll be able to achieve all the research goals within that time. So we need not overstay in the lab, or we need not forego all our holidays and such. Dedicate 100% of your life to research. There is a work-life balance, and everything is important. All experiences in life are important. Like if I'm in a city in Bangalore, research part is definitely important. I'm working here, but apart from that, trying to learn the language. There's a new language for me. Trying to learn the language, trying to go around. What are the different places? Trying out different food and cuisine. That is also important.
And I think that gives you a different taste of, because researchers are so much into research. And sometimes because, okay, let me ask you this way. Your field is bioinformatics.
Yes.
But your peers who do wet lab work, do they also share the same work-life balance experience?
So yeah, for a few of them, I've seen they've managed things very well, and and it's all a learning process. So even I didn't start out like this. I've also done late nighters in the lab, especially for courseworks. I've been I used to read all of the night for the morning exams. So it's all a learning process. You start out like that. You feel okay. The more the time we give, the better our research productivity will be, or the better our coursework results will be. But with all these years of being in research, and with the experience, and after talking to different colleagues and after observing them, many of us have realized that work-life balance is very important. It's important to take breaks. If you don't take breaks, there is there will be, like, supposing we are running. We are running for 2 hours, 3 hours continuously at a stretch. Our legs will start aching. And then the next day we'll not be able to walk or run properly. So that is overworking of muscles. So same way our brain also gets overworked. So it's better to maintain a specific set of working hours every day, so that and take weekend breaks, so that when we are back on Monday, we are all recharged and fully energetic, and we are excited to get back to our work. This is very important, taking breaks and knowing when to take breaks.
Yeah. No, I think I agree with that part. And in fact, to all the viewers, taking break is very important. Even more than that is when to take break, as Dr. Meenakshi said. Time management is the key. I believe that normally people say communication is the key, which it is. But when you are a researcher, the chances of burned out are very high, especially when you are working towards a timeline. So you have to take break, but the most important part is you have to manage your time. As Dr. Meenakshi said, it is not about doing 12 hours of work or 16 hours of work. It is about how well you are managed for that time. Your productivity can be way better in 8 hours than 16 hours. It is up to you how you manage that. And this is probably one thing, if you do very well, then you need not to do all those extra hours, late nights, and extra stress. Also, because when you are working for 8 hours and something doesn't work, it's different. But when you are pushing it to 10 or 12 or 16 hours, and then it is not working, now the pressure is logarithmic, because you believe that you have spent that extra time, and even now things doesn't work. Because if you're just doing 8 hours and it is not working, you're like, okay, I'll come back tomorrow, things will work, and that's how it works. Anyways, so try to manage your time in a way so that you need not to push yourself hard and save yourself from that frustration which comes with it. So, Dr. Meenakshi, now when you are pursuing as a project scientist, the future, how the future of researcher for you looks like?
So for me, I'm interested in teaching. So I would like to try out teaching positions, assistant professor positions, which will give me a chance to do both research and teaching. And it's a hope that I can involve a bachelor's and master's level student and give them some exposure to research. And keep motivating students. So I like interacting with students. Like we get interns in the campus, and it's always they are full of energy, and they literally transfer the energy to you when you work with students. So like I would like to, and you feel young. When you're with students, you feel young again. So it's like I would like to have that kind of experience, like research plus getting a chance to mentor students.
Nice. So let's talk two parts of a sentence. That when you decided that you want to do a PhD, there was a certain set of thoughts which you had. Now, when you are getting students who want to do PhD with you, is it something the same you are looking for, or how will you select the students?
So I like first thing is excitement and passion. So I think I can't say no. That is something very difficult. So whoever approaches, I might I would take them as students. But again, students are different. Some students are very good at very quick at working, whereas some students, they do a very thorough literature survey, and unless and until they will have come to you with questions, and unless and until they have all those questions are answered, till that time they may not start working. So I just hope that when I get students, they after that training period with me, they will leave with a complementary set of skills. They would have added to their own existing, and they would have realized what are the skill sets, what where all they need to hone it, and which are all the good skills conducive for the research that they have. And and if I feel that a student is more inclined towards other careers, so that also I will encourage. Like, a student might be good at research, but also at communication. So I can also do, this is an alternative career path for you. So you can try thinking about it. If whether they wish to continue in research or if they want to take a different trajectory, that is up to them. But I will try to help them that way with career guidance.
Yeah, here what we can understand is that you will be a great mentor in professional.
Thank you for your...
We believe that you already are, because you are already working with a team, teaching them a different way, because this open mentality is required. Because sometimes what I've seen in the labs, and especially in PhD students, that they are dropping out after 3 years or after 4 or 5 years also. We don't understand that it is because they didn't select the lab like thoroughly, as you said, or it is something to do with the mentor. Because what we believe is, like, students are ready to give whatever it takes. But as you mentioned, understanding the way they want, looking at their trajectory, that what path they should follow is up to the mentor. They should be open at that time also that, okay, this is something to want to do. I might not be the best person to it, but I can route you to the best person. Mentors also have to change it this way. And we see that already in you. So we congratulate you.
No, but adding to the point that you mentioned, you got a very important point that after 3 or 4 years, a student might not feel okay in a lab and they might want to leave. So it can, there can be several reasons for it. One of it is like maybe the student has realized that they are fit for some other career path. And not research. They have gotten exposed to something else and they realized, okay, maybe for whatever reason, I might be better fit for an industry. Like, things might happen faster there compared to a research lab, or I might be good in communication or teaching or some other field. So it is, as students, it is all right if you're feeling like that. After 2 or 3 years after joining a PhD program, if you are feeling that, you are, maybe this is not for you, it is all right if you take such a decision, because rather than being unhappy and staying more years to finish that course, it is all right if you move on and do something that you really like, or go on your journey to find something which is suitable for your skill set and for your something to do that you really like, you're really passionate about.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we are walking towards the end of the conversation. I would like to ask you 2 or 3 questions. The first of one will be, what are your suggestions and the word of wisdoms for the budding researchers or the people who are thinking to pursue research as their career?
So hard work, hard work, hard work. So hard work is very important. Especially at the starting. So when you're given a research problem, so trying to understand what is the problem and the background, the lab background, what prior work has gone to it before, and literature survey and talking to people, especially from the team. The more you talk, the better for you to understand, and perseverance. Sometimes, at the start, we might do a few things and all those things might fail. So it's very important to not get dejected by those failures and persevere. So we might be very close to success, but not realize it. So it's important that we persevere. And obviously, like as students, there may be many opportunities to attend conferences, webinars. And so I would advise students to attend conferences and webinars whenever you get a chance, because you get a lot of chance to meet new people, to understand what are all the different work which is going on in your field and in other fields, and also for networking. You might find your future PhD advisor or your future postdoc mentor there. So always, if there's a chance for networking, do utilize that chance.
So yeah, here I would like to tell all the audience that hard work, perseverance, and networking. These are the bullets which Dr. Meenakshi has suggested. So cling on to it. Now, the second is, do you believe that you are a researcher celebrity?
Maybe not. There are so many things to do. I'm just starting. I just feel I've just put baby steps in research. Maybe 20 years down the line, I just hope to become. So at every stage in my career, I have had role models Okay, so during bachelor's, okay, so this is how my senior is. She's an all-rounder. She's good with grades. She participates in several competitions. She's good at so many things. I would like to become like this person. And mostly, like, for some reason, all the role models have been women. And even during PhD, working mom, was so amazingly efficient with her work. Like, in a problem would be given to her, and so quickly she would know what is the next step. Okay, what kind of results would be there? If results are like this, okay, do this pipeline. If the results are different, do some other pipeline. She was so efficient. So, observing from all these role models, I feel there are always several things to learn from people, and I would like to, if given a chance, I would like to become like my professor Saudamini. She is my role model, and she has like as a mentor, she is really good. As a researcher, also she is good, really good, and as a teacher, also she is really good. So the day I feel that okay, I have come closer to her humility, her qualities, that day I might feel that I'm a research celebrity. But there is always I feel that once you believe you're good or you're the best or you're a celebrity, I am just worried I'll stop learning more. I'll just close my doors to knowledge. That is something I do not wish to stop at any stage in my career. I wish to take in more knowledge and all. So, yeah.
We agree with you. So how about we say this, at Empowering Science Foundation, we believe in breaking the barriers. And the name we chose for the series, Researcher Celebrity, is because we want to celebrate every single researcher.
That feels really nice. Has a special feeling to it.
So
yeah, thank you for choosing.
That makes you Researcher Celebrity. And we just completed our Women in STEM part at this platform. And now I would like to tell all the audience that if you want, you have heard Dr. Meenakshi. She sounds great mentor. So if you want any suggestion from her, you can directly write it to her. If you want Empowering Science Foundation to put you in contact with researcher celebrities, mentors, whatever you want to, we are there to help you. At this point, we would like to say thank you, Dr. Meenakshi, for taking time out.
Thanks a lot.
Good luck for your future research.
Thank you. And thank you for your kind words and encouragement.
Yeah, and for all the reviewers, stay tuned. We'll come back another episode of Researcher Celebrity. Till then, bye-bye.